welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. In today's video, I have a special guest, which I've been planning this for a while. This is my friend Alex. I will allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Alex. Face friend.
Yes. And I'm actually gonna put in her YouTube name. What's her YouTube name again?
SincerelyAlexVaney.
Yes, SincerelyAlexVaney, and that's her name, first and middle name. Yeah. This is Alex dancing. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. And this video will mostly be about Alex sharing her own experience. This is a friend I met. We became friends when I moved here in Arizona. So we're gonna share a little bit of different things, whether it's how we met, which kind of will give recommendations on how to make friends. She's gonna talk about other experiences with making other friends in a new city or creating a little community of your own. We're also going to talk about like applying for jobs. You know, she's somebody who has experience in that area.
Several jobs.
But several really good jobs though. Like this is in a corporate space, but also different. She's experienced with different industries as well, and she's worked with different teams, so she can talk a little bit about that. Talk about she bought a house. You know, she's like my friend who has bought a house, and she bought a house on her own. So she's gonna share about that experience with you, and she's just gonna speak on things that maybe I didn't really experience, but you get to hear from somebody else's perspective. All right, so Alex, the first question is, how did we meet?
So we met at Faith's current job.
Yes.
And we were both working there, and I was going up the stairs, and I was like walking past this like pod, and I was like, wait, there's a girl here that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I like walked past her because just to like do a first take, and then I walked back like are you new here? And she's like, yes, I just started. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, we went to brunch.
We went hiking.
We went hiking. Let me tell you, hiking in the middle of the summer, I think it was.
Yeah, it was in August.
Who are we? Hiking.
We went to Camelback.
Camelback, which is one of the hardest hikes here.
Yeah.
And then we got halfway through and we went to brunch. Yeah. And that's how I knew Faith and I were going to be friends.
Yeah, because I was like,
halfway through and then brunch, my type of girl.
I know, we're like, let's go eat. While people were like, oh, you got this. I'm like, mm-mm.
We looked at each other, we were like, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah,
brunch.
I've had enough. However, that was in 2021 and COVID had happened, obviously. So a lot of people, we had recently just moved to Phoenix from Iowa. You were already here, but obviously COVID happened while you were here. You moved back. Can you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, so when COVID happened, we all went home. So we were all able to work from home for a little bit. But since I was in Arizona by myself, I was like, I'm not gonna be shut in by myself. So I moved all my things back home to Oklahoma. And so I was here for like a week trying to find a new place. And so that's how I met Faith.
Yeah.
So I was a week here working, and then that's how I met Faith here.
Yeah. You were in a hotel.
Yeah, hotel.
Yeah.
Faith was like, you want to go hiking? I'm like, do I have hiking stuff? So I go in my storage. I was like,
I have to go to storage. I was like, what's in the
storage?
And then she told me like, oh, she just started, because they started to, have people come back in. I mean, if you were able to, they were starting to recommend that. So that's when Alex came back. Oh, that's great. So before we met, did you already have friends in Phoenix, the Phoenix area already?
No. So I moved here not knowing. Actually, I knew one person, which is my aunt.
Yeah. And
so I didn't know anyone like our age.
Right.
And so with that, I was like, okay, our job has younger people. Maybe we can hang out after work and do all this kind of thing. But sometimes making friends at work and like translating that outside of work can be hard.
Yes.
And so
this is the only friendship that has ever worked
seriously.
for me.
Yeah, work friends.
Everything
can be hard.
It really is hard. And sometimes, especially like, to say Alex did leave and find other opportunities, which we'll talk a little bit about, just that experience, that transition. We still maintained the friendship even after that. And that's usually not something that tends to happen.
No.
All right. So we worked for the same company for a while. And then what happened? You decided to leave, pursue other opportunities.
Yeah. So I was like, I know I want to be at a place where I want to have more experience in like a bigger corporation. Because do you know where you work?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes you don't say where you work. Yeah. So I was like, at that place, it was a little smaller, and so I knew I wanted more international experience. I wanted more 100,000 employees, and so I went to my place of work, and I was like, okay, this is where I want to be for a little bit. So I left Axon to go there to pursue that opportunity.
So before, when you were leaving our company, you didn't have a job
No.
yet, right? So what was that transition like, and what was it like? Did you get to a point where you're like, I need a job, like, oh my God, like, you know, or how did that whole play out for you?
I think I left there, was it June? I think maybe June I left.
Before the summer hit hard,
I left there around June, and I didn't have any job. I was applying. I was like, okay, should I move back home? Should I stay here in Arizona? So I was applying in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and nothing really hit. And so then I was like, let me go to my LinkedIn like DMs. I'm like, let's see what recruiters have been like hitting me when I was back at Axon and I wasn't really able to move. And so I went to my DMs and I saw like several recruiters reached out like, hey, you'll be great for a job. And so I reached out to one of them, and that's where I was able to apply, interview, and that's how I got my.
So it worked out.
It all worked out.
Definitely. Those LinkedIn connections and network and messages that recruiter do reach out. Sometimes even if you're not looking for something, it's still good to respond and say thank you for reaching out. We will stay connected if any opportunity opens up. So definitely that definitely works out.
But I didn't have a job for 3 months.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, you did go home to
I did go home
Oklahoma.
for a little bit because I was like, I don't know what's
Your
going to
lease
happen.
ended.
Oh my God, my lease did end. My lease ended.
Yes.
I didn't have a place to stay, so I moved back home. It was like, okay, let me just figure this out. Let me interview, let me apply. And then that's when I was like, okay, let me look back at my LinkedIn. And I moved back to Arizona. Without really having a place, I came back maybe 2 weeks or 2 weeks before I started my job to find a place.
So you were living, because we didn't live too far away, North Phoenix area, so I speak very highly about North Phoenix. I like the area. It's very chill. It's like a great distance to like things to do downtown North Scottsdale, the Scottsdale area, but it's still quite very nice. It's safe.
I love the area.
But you did move. You moved very far. You moved
Chandler.
to Chandler. So
I love Chandler.
My last video, I literally just highlighted Chandler as a city that I would recommend. So she lived in Chandler. So that was when I started visiting Chandler often, and I got to learn about the area. So can you talk a little bit about living in Chandler?
So Chandler is more like a family-filled area. So I feel like if you're one of those people who want to have like the hit stop and jumping around place, Chandler's not for you.
Right.
But if you have like more of an established, you're like, I know where I want to work, I know where I want to live, I have a family, Chandler is a place because it has good restaurants, good places to work around in that area. Good schools too. And so it's quiet as well, and it's growing a lot. And so I recommend Chandler for sure. If I was like, I think maybe in 2 years, that would be a place where I'm like, I could settle down there.
Yeah, Chandler is a nice city. I would not really recommend it for young people, especially if you're moving to Phoenix for the first time. Chandler may not necessarily be somewhere because, first of all, Chandler is farther away from everything else, but yeah, okay, that's good. All right, so let's now talk about why did you choose to come to Arizona?
Oh my God.
Because you came from Oklahoma. I mean, Midwest. Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to live in a place where I knew at least one person. And I knew my aunt at the time. So she now lives in Oklahoma, but I was like, okay, I know one person in Arizona, I know one person in Georgia, like different places that I knew I had at least one family member or one friend. That's kind of how I picked Arizona. And I knew I wanted to be there for a little bit, but it turned into a long time. Yeah. And I knew I didn't want a place that was always cold. I knew I wanted somewhere that was like more hot and able to go to California, go to Vegas, go to different places. So that's why I picked Arizona.
That's how Arizona came for you. What was that move like that? So when you were in Oklahoma, did you land a job before coming to Arizona?
Yeah, so that was the only job I landed like before moving. Okay, I recommend having a job before you move somewhere, for sure. But once you're here, I think you can kind of be flexible. But before I moved to Arizona, I had the job landed. I asked my aunt, could I stay with her for 3 months? 3 months turned into 10 months.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was supposed to be just a summer thing. Girl, it turned into almost a year.
Wow.
Woo! Let me tell you, that's a story for another day. But anywho, yeah, I moved here, packed up all my things in my car, my Toyota Camry, and it was
Is it the same Toyota?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It brought me 15 hours from Oklahoma to Arizona. I never even been here before.
Right.
I knew my aunt loved it. I came here out of sight, like moved here. Didn't even know what the summers were like. I moved here, I think, in April or May, so it was getting super hot.
Which year?
2018?
Oh wow! So you've been here
2018,
for a while?
2019? Yeah.
Oh wow!
Been here for a while.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I've enjoyed it ever since. It's definitely a place to.
What are all the areas you've lived in, and so when you what city or what part of the Phoenix Metroplex did you live in, and what other areas have you lived in? I know we mentioned the North Phoenix and Chandler.
Yeah. So when I first moved here, I lived in Tempe with my aunt.
Okay.
Then after that, I lived in Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, off like the 101. Then I moved to North Phoenix. That's where you live.
Yes.
Then I came down to Chandler.
Yeah.
And now I live in South Mountain.
South Mountain. So so this is crazy because I think
I
pretty
hit
much
almost
all the cities I talked about, aside Peoria and Glendale, she's lived in most of the rest. So from your experience actually living in this cities, so this areas, I have only lived in North Phoenix and now South Mountain area. So I've loved all the choices I've picked so far. What was it like for you living? Like, how would you rate them? What was your least favorite and what was your favorite?
Okay.
I already told them my least favorite, and I haven't lived there.
Which one?
Tempe's my least favorite.
Okay, so Tempe is very busy. We live off a baseline, and so we still live on baseline, but off of baseline and like that Kyrene area, very busy, so many things to do, but it's not great for when you're trying to get out for work. But the area is nice if you're wanting to be closer to like, there's like a park over there called Kiwanis Park, that's close by there. But if you're not really in the hustle and bustle, Tempe's not for you. North Phoenix, I really love that area. It was walkable. I was able to get around like that Desert Ridge area. A lot of things to do as a young professional, a young adult. Also with Scottsdale, I like Scottsdale too, because like the young people. But it was too far north for me when I really want to do a lot of things in Phoenix, and like that southern Scottsdale area. There's a lot to do. Chandler was great. I mentioned that earlier. Family oriented, a lot of things to do with shops and restaurants, a little quieter, too far south for me because I like to be in that central area. Now I'm being
you're central.
Yeah, now I'm central. The only thing I don't like about South Mountain is that I was able to really like walk around the other areas, like Chandler, I was able to walk. Scottsdale, I was able to walk, North Phoenix, but South Mountain is another beast. You better just get in your car and drive. Because after the sun goes down, baby,
you want to drive.
You want to be in the house or you want to be in the car driving. So and like it is busy.
Yes, and like I mentioned in my last video, South Mountain has been like more of like a business district. Like there were more like businesses and like things around, but now a lot of areas are starting to get got rezoned in the last maybe 5 to 10 years. So there's a lot of like apartments, townhomes growing
for sure
in the area. So I think people are still trying to get their footing, but it's still busy. Like there is a lot of like shopping areas. Like baseline is crazy
all the time.
It's always busy. There's always traffic, so that's something to be aware of. And also part of the South Phoenix area, Ahwatukee is also a really good area that's growing. That area. So very similar. These areas weren't really that popular years ago, but now they're starting to pick back up. So let's talk about affordability. All these cities you've lived in, which one was the most expensive?
Oh, well, you have to think about the time I lived in.
Oh, right.
So North Scottsdale probably is the most expensive now, but when I lived there, it was before COVID.
Right.
And so when I'm thinking about it, the Chandler area was the most expensive now because that was after COVID. So when I think about it, I think the North Scottsdale apartment would have been the most expensive out of all of them now. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, if you're moving, Scottsdale is definitely expensive.
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
I don't even think there's a cheap side of Scottsdale.
No,
it's
no.
just all expensive because North Scottsdale is expensive. If you're coming towards the Old Town Scottsdale area, it's even more expensive, even if the apartments are not really that nice at all. So a lot of people live in North Phoenix, which borders North Scottsdale. So, and it's very easy to get on the 101, the 51 101, and just
that's perfect.
And just do what you need to do in Scottsdale. All right, sounds good. All right, let's move on to the next area.
Okay.
Dating in Arizona. So you've dated in Arizona. What is that?
I've had jobs in Arizona. I've been dating in Arizona. Let's be for real.
You've seen it all. What was that like? Did you date the apps?
Yeah.
What is it like meeting people, mutuals, and all that? Which do you prefer? Or which worked out?
So I used to be that person where it's like, I'm not gonna date you unless someone knows of you.
Yeah.
But when I moved here, not knowing anyone,
Right.
I leaned towards the dating app. So a lot of people have bad raps on dating apps, but I tried Hinge. I didn't do the Bumble, but I did Hinge, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I think I saw some people in there that I knew from home who moved here. Like, I was like, oh no, you know me. I'm on a dating app. But no, it was actually a really good experience. People have bad experience, but it was really good.
You swiped on them or you went on dates with them?
He saw me on there and was like, Alex Denson. I was like, who is this? I was like, oh my gosh. I was horrified. But no, it was a great experience. I was embarrassed. I was oh my God, he knows me.
Oh wow. Okay. And so how
no,
was that experience?
It was a really good experience. I went on one date, and then that was like the last time I was on the dating app. So it was really good. I dated him for like a year and a half.
And then the other ones, was it like mutual friends and getting introduced?
Yeah, so it was yes, I went on a date with someone who has a mutual friend. He was cool, but he wasn't like wanting to date. He was wanting to like have a fun time. Yeah. You know.
You're too grown for
and that's not my life.
Right.
And then how I met Wes.
Yes. Well, before we get to Wes, because that's a different story. Alex is engaged now.
Yay!
And we love Wes and everything that comes with him. His daughter. We love Wes so much. So how did you meet Wes?
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was at my last job, he was a fitness coach there. Mm-hmm. And so how I met him was I was walking and, trying to get my body right. Okay. I walk in, they have a fitness class, but I was the only one trying to be in the class. And so it was like a one-on-one session. It was a
one-on-one session.
So that's how I met him. And so...
We made fun of Wes saying that he went out and been dating his clients.
I'm like, sir, before I go on this date, do you have any other clients that you see in? Because let's be for real.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. But
then he quit because we were dating.
Yeah, but I mean, he's still a coach.
Yeah.
Well, it's so crazy because he has multiple things. Wes, I vibe with him so much just because he has a lot going on for him. And to say that Wes is an identical twin.
Yes.
This is not the same, like identical twins. So it was so crazy meeting Wes and then seeing his brother. I mean, I've had experience seeing twins in the past, but I feel like them two are the most identical twins I've ever met.
Yeah.
I've met other identical twins, but I can always tell them apart. But this one took me a while.
Oh, really?
But it was their hair.
Oh,
that just gave it away.
Yeah.
And then because I got used to seeing Wes so much, I was able to easily tell him apart from his brother.
He's a fine twin.
Yeah. All right.
All right, moving along.
All right, so we talked about dating. We talked about finding and landing jobs. Okay, this is probably one of the biggest changes for you last year. So before this happened, we started to have those conversations on, because you hear she mentioned Dallas, Texas. She's looking for jobs. She does have family there, and that was somewhere that I was also considering. I've applied to jobs there. We have some family and very close friends that live in Texas. And so for a while, whenever we talked, there was no base on where are we gonna be long term. Out of nowhere, I remember I was out of the country, and this is just random conversations. Alex maybe once in a while would send me a house here and there, oh, this is cute. And I was like, oh, this is cute. But never would I have thought Alex would be the first person to buy a house. And I was out of the country, and next thing Alex sends me is a picture of her going to look at a house in front of it. And she said, your offer got approved. Because I think you didn't want to jinx it.
No,
you just wanted
no.
to see if it worked out. Tell us about that experience.
Okay.
And how you met your realtor, or just how everything happened.
My life, if I have a piece about it,
Yeah.
I feel like it's supposed to happen. So moving here to Arizona, I had a piece about it, all lined up, moving from job to job, lined up, house to house, lined up. And so last year I was like, you know what? I know I want to buy a house. I put it on my vision board. That's the first time ever I put it, like, my house on a vision board. And I was like, I don't know when it's going to happen. I just want to just start thinking about it, getting my credit right, all that kind of stuff. And so my mom came into town one weekend, and she was like, you've been talking about houses, you've been sending me houses, but you need to get out to go look at them.
Right.
I was like, you know what?
Faith without works.
Yeah, it's dead.
Right, it gotta happen.
So she was like, let's just go and tour some homes. So we got on Zillow. I saw these couple houses that I liked. And so, like, I applied to tour them, and we met up with a lady who is now my realtor, was my realtor. And so that same weekend, toured homes, yay, nay, put an offer in on 2 homes, actually. One of the homes, it didn't accept my offer. Then my second home that I really liked, they accepted my offer, and it all happened within a weekend. Craziest time ever.
Alex, that was the shortest timeline I've seen that I know somebody buy a house in.
Yeah.
It worked out.
It all worked out. Like, my realtor was like, you know what area you want to be in, you know how much you want to put down, you know you want to negotiate. And so I was able to really do all these things throughout the weekend. It was long nights, of course, like her texting me at 9 o'clock at night. I was not responding. She calls me like, hey, we need to get on this offer. But it really did happen, like, real quick. But I had that peace about it. So again, having that peace and having all my ducks in a row gave me the opportunity to buy a house in a weekend, I should say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But it all worked out.
How many years did you rent or didn't have a house before you bought one in Arizona?
Yeah, so when I moved here, I didn't, maybe I've been renting for like 5 years.
Okay.
5
So
years.
see that, so she's been renting for a while before buying a house. Would you recommend people, before it happened, like, families move, they buy a house before they get into the city. Is Phoenix, Arizona and the Metroplex somewhere you would recommend to do that? Like buying a house right when you're moving?
No, I think it's important to kind of know where you want to be.
Exactly.
So I'm glad I was able to kind of hop around the area so I can kind of know, okay, maybe this is my first house, but I know for sure my long-term home will be in Chandler, or my long-term home will be in a different area.
Yeah.
But it works out for people sometimes, but I really want people to get here to see if Arizona, one, is a place that you want to be. The area that you moved in is actually where you want to be. School systems are a big thing.
Yeah.
And so you have to make sure you are.
Yes, yeah. So definitely, if you're moving to the area, even if you have the money to buy the home you want to buy, I do not recommend buying. I do say at least give yourself a year, 6 months to a year, because there's 6 months lease rental here, even if it would be a bit more expensive. But if you really need to get into a house, still rent.
Yeah.
And I feel like realtors, they're able to negotiate you out of your lease, like figure out a way to pay to break out of your lease and move into a home. So that's definitely an option. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about building a community. And for some people it may look a little different. So like finding your church, finding like your friend group, and connecting your friend group with your other friend group to build that community. How has that been like for you living here?
Wow. So I think my community has kind of changed a little bit. So when I first moved here to Arizona, it was kind of like I wanted to get out, go out and about. So like my community at the time, or my friend group at the time, was kind of like clubs, party, and all that kind of stuff. Really, we were still HR related, but like party, just getting out, kind of understanding. And then when I kind of met you and met the other friends, it was more of like, okay, here are my friends who are more established. They have husbands, they have boyfriends, and they also like brunch and happy hours. So kind of having that understanding, and also faith-based and having that community. What is interesting about it is that I've been very prayerful about like my community like evolving too. So as you all know, Wes has a daughter, and so it's interesting now that when I moved to Chandler, a lot of my friends that I met have kids.
Right.
And so and that's like out of the blue. I would meet the mom first, and then
Right.
she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I have a 5-year-old." I'm like, "What?" Like it just all worked out. And
yeah.
so I'm excited that like I have, although I have different pockets of friends and community, but we've all been able to get together several times.
Absolutely, especially buying your house.
Yeah, buying the house. We had the
Even
housewarming.
her birthday.
Oh yeah, Naya's birthday. We had it
we
at
all
my house.
we all showed up, so that was nice. Okay,
And also being honest on where you are right now in life.
that's true.
If
That's
you
true.
want friends who are just always going out, you know, you can have those type of
You will
friends.
find them,
You'll
too.
find them.
Yeah.
But if you want friends that you can really grow with and like be on your journey as you evolve, you have to be honest with like where you want to be in the future. So
Yes.
I'm glad I have friends who've seen me in
adjust.
different stages.
And there are times that those friendships will evolve. There
Yeah.
are those that maybe when you get into a stage of your life where it's like they're not necessarily there, that's okay. You
Yeah.
know? It's like everybody, you meet different people at different points in their lives. All right, so we're going to talk more about recommendations. Like,
Yep.
we're going to talk about what's your favorite place. We love a good brunch.
Oh yeah.
We love a good
Oh,
brunch. What's your favorite like weekend activity to do? And then what's something like something you definitely love to do regardless of the day or whenever while living here? What's like a good weekend activity for you?
Okay. Brunch always. But then also kind of like a park situation, like hanging outside
Yeah.
with some drinks, with your friends, some music.
Yeah.
I'm always loving that vibe.
The pool area.
The pool area.
Yeah.
If people have pool, I love that kind of just chill. You don't always have to be going anywhere.
Right.
You can be
Outside is expensive.
you know, every time you step out, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Cash App. Apple Pay.
I'm like, my goodness, like how did I rack up that much? Oh,
Right,
Lord.
right.
But no, a good brunch that has music,
Yes.
or like a good evening setting that has live music. I love that type of vibe.
Yeah.
And
And I
so-
know it's like, I think more and more I start to look at free things to do. Like going to the park is free. Just grab, I think we all have, what's it called again?
A wagon.
The wagon. I have a wagon. It's like, whether it's like, hey, especially in the summer, I have a pool. Come over, we'll grill, whatever, just chill, just nothing too much. Whether it's going to the park or whether it's like you going and roller skating,
Yeah.
we're playing basketball or something, or during Black History Month, if there are free
Events,
things.
yeah.
First Friday is also a good thing that happens in Phoenix, off of Roosevelt
Roosevelt
Road. Yeah, that's always something that's free you can do. Obviously, to enjoy First Friday, it's you have to spend money
Yeah.
because it's like businesses, music, art, fashion, things to buy. So those are definitely things to explore. What is so outside of the Phoenix area, have you been to like Arizona, like tourist attraction places?
Grand
Like,
Canyon.
You've been to the Grand
Oh my
Canyon? How
gosh.
was that?
It was so nice. So let me tell you, when you get there, the picture doesn't do
it
No,
justice.
you really have to just enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
I love that. We did it with Axon. The whole like
I didn't go to it when they did
when
those,
the
and they stopped
rowing and
doing
stuff.
it.
Oh yeah, so that was a good experience. Also, what I'm wanting to go to is that Antelope Canyon. I haven't been there
Heard
yet,
of it. Mhm.
so that's pretty nice. So there's a lot of hiking events. There are
Yes.
hiking places here in
Hiking
Arizona.
is free and the view is spectacular, whether it's a city mountain you're hiking or whether it's something that gives you a view of the city or just nature.
I love it.
beautiful.
Also, Flagstaff was nice. We did camping.
Oh, okay.
That was beautiful.
What kind of camping did you do?
So we literally did the tents.
The tents. Count me out.
Our tent broke. Wes broke the zipper, so we had to sleep in the car.
Oh no! Wait, whose car did you guys take?
We
Your
took
car?
his brother's car. So we had to sleep in the car because the zipper broke.
Oh no!
I said, you know what? Where's the glamping?
Right? I cannot. I feel like I would prefer nicer.
It was
like, a whole
fun.
glamping
It was a
thing.
good experience. The
Yeah.
cooking outside and
Yeah. Oh, okay.
10 out of 10 recommend, but not this year.
Yeah, I'm
Next.
not going camping.
Yeah,
I've
that'll
done
be
that
fun.
before. I've done it in Iowa. I'm not doing it again.
It's fun. We have to get it with some friends. It'll be
Probably, that's
Yeah,
true. With
it'll
some
be fun.
drinks and
Yeah.
some more chill. Okay. Have you been to Sedona yet?
yes.
Oh.
So that was nice. We did we camp there too? No, I think we just visited.
Okay.
And then that was nice too. They have shops there. That's a beautiful view. More of like artsy boho vibes.
Yeah.
If you like that. It's beautiful.
What do you recommend when people are planning to either move to Arizona? How many times do you recommend they visit Phoenix before like actually like making that decision to move?
I don't know. I just say come in the summer. At least
Yeah.
visit in the summer so you can see how hot it is. And then that would probably just, if you get a weekend or a week to come here to just kind of view different places, view your houses, view different tourist places, whatever it is, just come for, I say one time is fine, but come in the summer so you really know what we're talking about when we talk about that.
Because the winter is perfect. And
Yeah,
winter's
there's
gonna
no-
it's
what's
gonna
winter?
make you want to move right
Yeah.
away. So definitely come summer, monsoon season, experience all of that.
Yeah.
And make your decision from there.
Because I came here not knowing, so.
Yeah.
Did you visit once?
Twice.
Okay.
I visited once myself, and then once with Matthew for us to actually look at tour apartments and see the areas
That
we
makes
wanted
sense.
to live. However, when we toured it, I didn't have a job yet. I was still applying to jobs, but what I was doing was understanding the areas that I could live in and then work. So anytime I apply to jobs, I get an idea where that company's located, and then I'll see the distance from all these areas, and I'll be like, okay, maybe I should live in North Phoenix or Central Phoenix and things like
because
that.
the commute can be very hard on the 101
Yes.
or any highway after 5 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, yes. It
Ooh-wee.
can be bad. I mean, it's not. You've been to Texas, and like, what would you compare?
Texas is worse.
Yes.
Let me just say that. Texas is awful. I think they also don't use their blinkers, and it's just too much. Also, the highway's a little different.
Yeah.
The 101 here is kind of just straight.
Yeah.
The highways.
I will give Arizona props. The highway systems here are very good.
Yeah.
Like, and they're not too long. Like so their loops actually loops you. Like you get from one side of the city to the
That is
other,
true.
and it's like you're not on the same highway for a very long time. You know what I mean? And the highways literally get you straight shot into like the city or parts of town you need to be. And the roads are good too. We don't have like potholes and things like that. I know like the city you report it, and usually there's a good turnaround time. However, construction, because the weather is always great here, construction's happening constantly. So that's something to be aware
And
of.
you can exit like off the highway and still get where you need to be. Now,
Not too far, right?
Texas,
right.
you
Oh my
get
God.
off, you get off the exit, you're already in the next city. Like you can't turn around for another mile.
You miss an exit. That's a trouble issue. That's usually bad. The only thing I would say, the only one obvious, I mean, it's more rural. Going towards is it Queen Creek? Or, that's like more. There isn't too many exits there, but that's like.
Yeah.
You're already outside of like the
you're
main city areas, heading to Maricopa or something like that.
There's one ways.
Yeah.
You can't really exit. And,
So that's where if you get there, it might be difficult. But if you're like in the metroplex cities, what do you think about Glendale?
I like Glendale's okay. It's more diverse.
Yes,
so the
it
more
is.
and more I spend time out there, because of Wes's cousin,
Yeah.
it's more and more diverse. It can be a little hectic. It kind of reminds me of South Mountain, South Phoenix, on like the population area.
Yeah.
So everything is more condensed. You can get to like the shops really well. So if you're looking for more like diverse population, African American, that's where
you find
they
the
live.
Mexicans for sure. Okay, that's good. So what's next for you, Alex? You have a YouTube channel.
Yes. What's next? So
What's next?
what is next for me? Marriage is
Yes.
next. Planning a wedding. Still
Yeah.
trying to capture everything on YouTube. Being consistent there.
That's
Building
awesome.
a community there. So that's really my focus, is getting the wedding planning this year. Being good in my job. Building up on YouTube. That's my focus. So.
Awesome. Alex, how many careers or jobs, companies have you worked
Here?
with in the last 3 years? 3-4
Probably
years?
3. Listen,
Yeah,
one thing I'm gonna do is quit. I'm kidding.
One thing Alex is gonna do is skedaddle.
If it's not serving me.
Yeah. What industry are you in? Like, what's your
Tech.
career?
I'm still in tech. So
Well, no, your career.
HR.
HR.
Yeah, human resources.
Human resources. So she has the advantage of literally working with any organization she wants.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one's been your favorite?
The one I'm at right now and Axon's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tech.
the people
Yeah.
people make it. What you do make it, and so
Awesome. Well, thanks, Alex, for coming on my YouTube channel. This was fun. I hope you had a good time.
It was good.
Make sure to subscribe to my channel and Alex's channel if you haven't done that yet.
Do it.
Yes. I'll also link our other social media as well. Yeah, we're trying to get this content out there.
Yes, we
so yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next. What? Hold on. What did I say? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Bye.